Hello, this is Bern, and if you're interested in finding out how to step into a long-distance relationship in a way that creates much more joy than pain, well, stick around because I'm going to be sharing with you how to do just that on my episode today. Hello, this is Bern. Welcome to your greatlifetobe.com. Today is another edition of Ask Bern, where any of you amazing, beautiful women get to ask me a question on understanding men, how to create the relationship of your dreams and anywhere in between, and I create a video-based response just for you. Today's question doesn't just come from one woman, it comes from so many of you who've asked me along the last few months, how do I make a long-distance relationship work? So I finally decided, let's create a video on that today. And here's the situation. Most human beings who end up being in a long-distance relationship end up suffering more than enjoying. And the reason is because they get a chance to see see someone that they really want to spend time with, but they can't for whatever reason. So if your long-distance relationship is going to work, if you find yourself in one of these and it's going to work, I'm going to give you some guidelines, 5 guidelines that make it easier for you to really create a sustainable, long relationship that ends up in being together versus something that's just a fling or that doesn't last or doesn't stand the test of time. Number one is the less time you've spent connecting as human beings in person before you call this a relationship, the less likely it is to work. Why? Because we tend to project. If you never met somebody in person and all you've seen is texts and emails and Skype conversations, the likelihood that you're projecting a big part of who this human being is incredibly high. So if you find yourself in a situation where you've never met this person, you must make it an absolute priority to spend some time together in person. Why? Because you want to know for sure if all this poetry and this incredible experience can translate into someone really being there for you and with you, okay? Now, that's not a rule that's gonna make this work, but I can tell you that if you actually meet this person or you spend more time with this person, you'll get a chance to really know what's going on versus what you're projecting in your mind because you want to feel this great emotion called love. Number 2 is communicate naturally and often. And here's why. Because when you are in a long distance relationship, you don't have the luxury of waking up next to that human being and not having to say anything and just spend quality time together. You don't have you're driving down the road and you're both singing, for example, and you don't have to be talking about anything, but you can just understand. You don't have the luxury of being able to see them when they come back from work necessarily and see in their face if they had a great day or a shitty day. So if you are to really grow this relationship, you need to be able to communicate more continuously and make a bigger effort than you normally would with the person you're with, because otherwise they're gonna miss out on a big part of your life. They're not gonna understand what's really going on. So both of you need to have a commitment of communicating a lot, of communicating often, and spending quality time together. Meaning if you were in the same city, you would actually have dates, right? Well, you need to create virtual dates. Why? Because otherwise it's not gonna be fun for either of you. Number 3, you need to continue growing in passion. Here's what I mean. If all of a sudden you create this long distance relationship and you put all your energy, all your effort, all your life's purpose into like this human being, this guy, then the part of you that made him attracted to you in the first place, the part of you that's alive and fun and excited is gonna start diminishing. And if that starts diminishing, you're gonna start putting unnecessary pressure on the guy to fill up the void that you're not feeling in your day-to-day life. So if you still, regardless of having this relationship in your life, don't make this the only thing that's important to you. You make it something that's very important for you. It's a high priority in your life, but one of your highest priorities needs to be continuing to foster that sense of passion, excitement, community that you have in your life so that you don't isolate yourself from the world and it's basically just you and your virtual friend here, okay? You need to be able to continue creating human connections because they're so important, so part of a woman's life. Number 4 is have an end in sight. Let's all bullshit aside. If you're in a long-distance relationship and it's one of those indefinite long-distance relationships, it's gonna get, it's not boring, but it's gonna get tiring very soon. Here's why. Because no matter how much you connect, no matter how amazing that relationship gets, you don't have a feeling that this pain of not being with the one you love is gonna end. So I'm not saying this needs to happen at the beginning, but at some point, in the relationship, if both of you don't come to a realization of this is how we can take it to the next level, meaning being physically closer together, spending more time together, living in the same city, it's not gonna work, okay? So just know that even though that may not need to happen at the beginning, at some point you need to come to the realization. If it doesn't go to that step, it's gonna be an illusion more than a relationship. Number 5, don't BS yourself. If it's not the right time, move on. And here's what I mean. It doesn't mean that this human being is not an amazing person for you. It doesn't mean that this person is not someone who can add a lot to your life. But ultimately, in this relationship, the timing based on where you're both living and what each of you have going in your life, and also your willingness to do whatever it takes to move to the same location sooner rather than later. If that's not something that's gonna happen, then don't BS yourself. Life is so short to spend your time missing someone every single day of your life. And if you are really honest with yourself, a lot of women and a lot of men enter long distance relationships as a way to protect themselves, because it's something that's much safer. You don't have to put yourself out there as much. You don't have to be as vulnerable. So I'm not saying that that's the reason why everyone goes into a long distance relationship. But if you're one of those, if you catch yourself in the safety of a long distance relationship to avoid feeling the ultimate level of opening, then don't BS yourself and take the next step. And that next step might mean finding someone who can really love you and give you the love that you want where you are. Thank you so much for allowing me to share this with you. If you find this is helpful, insightful, useful, I'm gonna ask you to do 3 things. Number 1, click like on this video. Number 2, subscribe to my channel. Number 3, on the link below or on the link here, you're going to see an invitation to sign up for a 3-part video program that is titled How to Become the Only Woman He Loves for the Rest of His Life. Super powerful stuff, and it's free. And as always, if you have any questions for me, feel free to reach out through a comment below. Ask me any question you want and I'll either respond personally or I'll create a video just for you. Thank you.